Hey, I'm Alex,
And I'm Brandon.
and welcome to Living Electric.
We're both content creators and electric vehicle enthusiasts.
And through this podcast, we hope to share our experience with owning electric vehicles and help you join the electric life.
Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 6 of Living Electric. For today's episode, we will be talking about some pretty exciting things regarding content production for Alex and my separate YouTube channels. For today's episode, we are going to be discussing my full in-depth video of the Porsche Taycan and Alex's first impressions of the Mustang Mach-E. So, you ready to get started, Alex?
Yeah, let's get into it. We were kind of preparing for this podcast last minute, and we started getting into all of our conversation on this, so we we hit record as quick as we could to save all our good conversation. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Keep it fresh, right?
That's right. Yeah, so Brandon, let's talk about your Taycan video, because that's what we were just discussing. First off, great job on it. I was just telling you before this, you did an awesome job. Really in-depth video. Definitely recommend you guys go check it out, because it basically shows off every piece and part on the car, what it does, how it works. And Brandon's very knowledgeable on that, as he's told me. So,
yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with Porsches, to say the least.
Yeah.
To be honest, I've had the opportunity to record the Taycan for about a year now, and I never jumped on it just because of everything happening with the pandemic and everything in the world. And finally, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take full advantage of this. Mm-hmm. One of my old Tesla coworkers works at Porsche of North Olmsted, and he set me up with the sales manager. And from there, that's how I got in touch with them to do a full in-depth video of the Taycan. So I had the car for about 10 hours.
Wow. So you got it all day. Was this last Saturday?
Yeah. It was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Losing track of time.
That's awesome. So you were telling me you started out with the launch. That was like the first experience with the car, basically.
Pretty much. So when we were researching like where we wanted to go, we found this massive solar farm in Grafton, Ohio. I think it was like a 3 to 5 megawatt like solar farm, so it was massive.
Okay.
And luckily there was a pull off to where we could do like some B-roll and like drone shots of the solar panels with the Taycan. And what was really funny is the moment we pulled up, a police officer showed up.
Of course.
And of course, perfect timing. And I immediately was panicking. I'm like, I can't record here. I can't do this here. It was perfect country road for launches.
Yeah.
And we asked him if it was okay, and he was like, yeah, have fun.
Nice.
So we had the whole country road to ourselves.
That's awesome.
For about an hour and a half. The one thing I will say about the Taycan, we drove the Taycan 4S. So it was kind of the second trim level up from the base rear-wheel drive.
Okay.
And
so it's kind of mid-tier in terms of the trims, basically.
Yeah.
Because they have what's the base called?
Just the Taycan.
Just the Taycan, and then there's the 4S, and then the Turbo.
Yep.
And then Turbo S, is that right?
Yep. Yeah,
wow.
So you know your
Guessed it
Porsche
right.
stuff.
Yeah. Didn't even look it up.
Yeah. So you know your stuff. But the really cool thing about the Taycan 4S is, unlike other electric vehicles, it has a 2-speed gearbox. Mm-hmm. So the first, it's funny because like I heard about the gear changes, from all the videos I watched, they've always said you can feel it, and I never expected it to feel like that. So what's really cool about the Taycan is when you put it in Sport Plus mode and you put your foot on the brake and on the accelerator, it engages launch mode. And because it has speakers all around the vehicle and inside the vehicle, it produces what they call like the sport sound, which to me sounded like a mixture of like the rumble of like a combustion engine mixed with like electrification. And then you feel that first gear the moment you take your foot off the brake, and then it's like slides right into second and it throws you back.
Wow. So there's almost like two lurches almost. Like it's not, it's almost like a downshift type thing where you're like,
correct. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So unlike, I haven't driven any of like the new performance Teslas, but like I've driven like the P100D a few years ago. The 4S, because of that 2-speed gearbox, impressed me more than the P100D did. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wonder if more engaging.
Yeah, I wonder if more cars are going to go that way, usually like EVs will just do the single speed because like you've got instant torque right away, but like you can almost like, it sounds like they're kind of using that to up the torque even more, like with the 2-speed. So
yeah, they call it overboost when you put your like the Taycan in launch mode.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know like the technical details, but it sounds like it kind of almost like spins the motor up.
Yeah.
So like you're getting max torque out of it. It actually raises the torque figures by almost 80.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the like insane mode on the or ludicrous mode, I guess now on the Model S is like that, where it'll like pre-spin up the motors. So like as soon as you let off the brake, it's like already moving per se. Like the motor's already spun up. It just engages the wheels, which is just crazy. Like it's insane.
I know. I've never tried launch mode in a Tesla.
Really?
Before. I don't. Have you?
I've done it once. It was on a P85D though. I haven't done the full P100D. I should reach out to our Tesla owners group and see if somebody let me do that.
yeah. I'll come down to Columbus.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I would like to, I've seen a lot of like the 0 to 60 test videos that some of the bigger channels have done with like a Model S versus a Taycan, and I wonder like what that actually feels like, if you can notice a difference between the two, because I haven't been in like one of the latest like Raven Model S's. So
same. Yeah, I will say, based on like my impression of what I knew about like the P100D, like Model S and like those performance, the Taycan 4S blew my mind. I was not expecting that 2-speed gearbox to impress me that much. I will say that. Yeah. And that was just the 4S. Like I can't imagine. Like, the turbo
it goes up 2 more gears after that.
yeah. I can't even imagine what that would feel like.
Yeah, that's nuts. What was your impression of like the just overall driving? How did it compare to your Bolts or even like Teslas you've driven? I mean, it might not even be a comparison between a Bolt, but
no. I will say, driving the Mach-E and the Taycan, it was amazing getting into a real car. Like to actually feel like you're in a solid vehicle.
Yeah,
just impressed me. But I think the biggest thing that surprised me about the Taycan is that it looks big on the outside, but it feels incredibly small on the inside. And I don't mean that like it's a tight cabin, but it feels like you're in a coupe.
Yeah,
like,
you're kind of tucked in there.
Yeah. There's no blind spots. Everything was wide open. I didn't have any issues seeing out the windows. But the fit and finish, I mean, it was pure Porsche. Like the materials and everything. The only thing that I didn't really like is that I feel like some of the software could be improved. Apple CarPlay froze, like the whole touchscreen like crashed one time. Yeah, I didn't. It was when we first picked up the car, so I couldn't show that in the video. It was fine afterwards. But there was just some like lagging.
Yeah. That's one spot where I feel like Tesla just blows everybody out of the water, is their touchscreen interface. Like it feels like you're using an iPad instead of like I get in any other car with a touchscreen and it's like laggy. Like this is a brand new car sometimes, and like you drag your finger and then the volume knob moves, or the volume moves after like a second. Like it should not take that long.
No, it should not. Yeah, I will say, with like all the screens within the Taycan, they all were very responsive. But good. The one that I was really impressed with was the middle 8.4-inch screen, where you like control your climate and like you can like, it's all haptic feedback. So like you almost feel like you're pressing in the screen.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But I will say, like, the last thing I'll say about the Taycan is just how every day of a vehicle it could be. It was so comfortable riding on the highway, driving in like city traffic. It just felt like a normal car until you punched it.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing I remember from your review. You said like the like you can't hear anything in the cabin. Like it's extremely well insulated. Like it's clearly a luxury car. Like they're trying to make it comfortable, but also performance. So it sounds like they really, really nailed it with that. So
they really
I'm hoping a lot of Porsche like people that buy expensive Porsches will look towards a Taycan and like realize how good electric vehicles can be, especially if they're just looking for a fun car that they're not going to take all over the country. So
I will say when I was at the dealership, a Model S pulled up who was looking at a Taycan.
Really?
And the sales group there was telling me that they can't keep Taycans on the lot. They recently actually posted on Instagram, they just got 16 new Taycans in because they keep selling them. Yeah.
That's nuts.
After experiencing it, I can see why.
Yeah. If you got that kind of money, I think that's definitely something to look at.
So, Alex, your Mach-E video. Do you want to tell us about that?
Haven't even started editing it, but I can give you my my impressions on the car. It is big. That was like the biggest thing I noticed. No pun intended, but it's legit an SUV. I've been in Mustangs and it didn't feel like a Mustang, besides the performance aspect of it, but just the size of it I think stood out a lot to me. Coming from my Model 3, kind of a smaller, like, compact car. Trunk space is decent, but it's not huge. I mean, back seats are all right size. But in the Mach-E, it almost felt like being in, like, a minivan almost is, like, what I equated it to, just because of how, like, comfortable on the inside it was. Like, nothing against minivans. Like, they ride a little bit differently, and they're, like, really big on the inside. And that's legit what it felt like. And it sat up really high. Driving was interesting because, similar to the Porsche, I believe it had some like artificial engine noise in there. Because when you punch it, it does kind of like the motor rev up, like electricity type sound, but then it also had like the rumble there. So I did it with my friend Voss, actually, over in Dayton. He has a car channel too, but he does a mix of EVs and ICE cars. But he noticed it too. He's like, once you, from 0 to 40, it's like a regular electric car. And then like after 40, you can almost hear like a little rumble, like it's a gas car, which I thought was really interesting because I hadn't really experienced that in an EV yet. I've been in Nissan Leafs and Bolts, and like, it's just like a whine the whole time. But like, I think a lot of companies are starting to pay attention more to how their cars sound, even if they are EVs, because that's a big part of the car experience for a lot of people, is like what your car sounds like.
Yeah.
And that's a big gripe I hear from people that are like turned off from EVs. That's the first thing. It's like, oh, they've got no soul. Like they don't sound good. Like,
yeah,
which is like a very superficial thing, but that's something that people are looking for in cars. So.
Yeah, I will say, based on the topic of like EV, like I want to say like not modified sound, but like just artificial sound, I guess you could say. The Taycan Sport sound was way louder than I expected it to be.
Really?
There was at one point where I couldn't even like hear myself. Like it was so loud.
Can you adjust
that?
But
it sounded so good. What was that?
Can you adjust those like sound levels on it all? Can you say like?
No, it's
I know
only,
you can turn it off, but
yeah. But it sounded like I got used to it. Like it sounded good eventually, but at first I'm like, wow, this is really loud. Yeah, but I've driven the Mach-E as well. I think it's unbridled mode is where you can hear that like the rumbling, and I was shocked with how loud it is too. Yeah, especially coming from a car that you're not used to hearing sound.
Yeah, exactly. And we didn't mess around with the settings too much to see if you could like turn that off or on. But I kind of liked it, honestly. It felt like being back in a gas car, just with like a little more oomph to it, because you got those electric motors. So that was interesting. The trunk is really weird too. Did yours have like the weird like apron thing on the back of the trunk? I don't know how much you even remember, if you even noticed that, but
so the one I drove, it was a select trim. It was all-wheel drive, so it was like the base one.
Okay.
I don't know if it had an apron. Like, are you talking like the privacy screen?
Yeah, something like that. It was very strange. I've got it on video. I'll have to show it to you. But like when you open the trunk, there's like this little apron that like covers the rear window. It almost looks like a sunshade for like when your trunk is open. It's really odd.
Interesting.
That was like one of the weird quirks I noticed, and I wasn't sure exactly what it was. But then when it's closed, it almost forms like a little like trampoline shelf type thing, like right behind the rear seats. I don't know what it was for. So like it didn't look like it would be strong enough to hold anything, but just like a weird thing I noticed.
Interesting.
But similar to the Porsche, it had CarPlay, Android Auto, like all that kind of stuff. But really felt like a normal car, honestly. The touchscreen is easily like the weirdest part in that car, I think, because it's got that giant like vertical touchscreen.
I agree.
So you've got the regular dash up front, which is all digital, and then you've got this big, I don't know what size it is. It seemed about the same size as my Model 3 touchscreen, just like vertical.
I think it's 15
inches. That sounds right. And then you've got this big knob right in the middle on the bottom of the touchscreen, which I believe only does volume. Like that's only volume control, and that's all. So instead of like, that's the only physical button that controls anything on the touchscreen. Everything else is pretty much digital on the touchscreen. But I thought that was strange. Like it almost felt like it took up too much room on the touchscreen. Like that's like a good 4-inch like square space that you could put something else. Especially when you've got like volume control on your steering wheel. So that was another like kind of weird thing. I'm not sure exactly why they went with that design choice, but I think it is nice to have some physical controls. Like that's one thing I'm kind of noticing now that I've been driving other cars is like, I think Tesla really takes it too far with touchscreen controls sometimes, where like some things need to be like physical controls driving a car.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. You know, like even like reflecting back on like the Taycan, like there was no physical buttons except for like what's on the steering wheel.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's basically it. Because your AC is on that little touchscreen.
Same with volume. And media controls, stuff like that. It's pretty much all right there. I will say from my experience with the Mach-E with the touchscreen, the biggest gripe I had with it is that, and Tyler would even agree with this too, the climate control system was all the way at the bottom of the screen. And when you're driving, it's really hard to look down at the bottom of the screen, select your temperature, and then, keep going. It's almost like a guessing game.
Yeah, I thought that was odd too. I noticed when I was driving that like your field of view, you want to keep it like up looking at the road. So like the more you have to look down at something, that's like when accidents are going to occur, like the farther your eyes get away from the road. So I thought it was strange being like a brand new EV on the market, and like most people are kind of switching to horizontal screens now, that they went with the big vertical screen. So
what did you think about the fit and finish?
It seemed really good. We tried I believe we had the premium trim, so it was like one of the higher end one. It had leather seats, like all that kind of stuff, but it seemed really good. Only thing that was like a little weird was the back seat. Like you could, like I was just hopping in the back seat and I noticed like you could lift up on the back seat and it like wiggled a ton. That was like the only thing I noticed that was like a little off, but I mean, honestly, it looked really good. So
yeah, I was impressed with that. Immediately, like when we got on the road, I could feel just how solid of a car it was. Yeah. And like I've driven Fords, and that was like the first Ford that I'm like, wow, this feels really well made. Yeah. That was another wow. My Bolt feels like a tin can moment.
Yeah. I feel like that's a big way that like people are cutting corners with EVs to get the cost down, is like just using cheap materials on the interior, because that's like an easy way to cut costs, and you can make cheap materials look good sometimes, even if they don't like perform that well.
I did hear that the Mach-E was actually designed to be almost like a Lincoln level vehicle.
Oh yeah, because they're on the same umbrella, right? Ford owns Lincoln, right?
Yep. And apparently some information leaked that Lincoln is working on 2 electric vehicles that will be built out of the same factory that the Mach-E is made out of. Gotcha.
So probably similar kind of chassis design and all that.
Yeah, I will say from driving the Mach-E from like a in car enthusiast perspective, I wish that it felt like a Mustang. Like it did, like it definitely felt sporty, but I agree with you, like it felt big.
Yeah.
It's like the steering
very clearly an SUV, like
very like you can definitely tell. But I wish the steering was heavier, especially even if it was just a select trim that I drove. I wish it was more performance oriented. So hopefully there'll be some type of maybe it's software or some type of physical improvement.
Maybe.
Yeah. But I was impressed. I honestly would consider that as a replacement for my Bolt.
I think I always say this, like if somebody's not looking for all the tech and all the like like high barrier to entry almost that like a lot of the Tesla vehicles have. Like the Mach-E is like a great alternative to the Model Y. Like it seems like it'll fit a lot of people's needs for what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Because there are not a lot of EVs in that kind of like price range that get the range and have like the cabin space and the cargo space that the Mach-E has. So
yeah. And I already know that they're really well regarded. I mean, like I'm part of the Mach-E group on Facebook, and every day I'm seeing like 10 or 12 new owners.
Yeah.
They're selling like crazy.
Yeah.
Which is good.
And I'm curious if those are like, I doubt those are Mustang owners too, or like people are buying it because it's a Mustang. Like I kind of
some of them are.
Really?
Actually.
That's
surprising.
Some
of them are.
Huh.
Yeah, there's some cool photos of them with like their, I think it was like a 1966 Mustang next to their like rapid red Mach-E.
Okay, I'm wrong.
It's pretty cool.
That's really neat.
Yeah. So, Alex, I know that like we haven't like actually had a episode on like content production. Like I think this is one of our first one. So you've been producing YouTube videos for a few years now.
Yeah.
What, as a content producer, have you felt like you've improved on recently? Like as like through some of your new videos, especially like with the Mach-E?
Oh man. I feel like I kind of know what shots to get now of like what people are going to be interested in. I noticed that when I was like shooting the Mach-E video is like, I probably don't need to get like shots of this thing because like that doesn't really add a lot of value, but like kind of thinking through the video in my head as I'm going and knowing what I need to get footage of. I will say I got this mount, which has been like the biggest help ever. It's like a double suction mount that I can mount to the roof of my car and get like really good in-car footage instead of just like sticking a GoPro up there. And that like instantly ups the quality of like in-car driving shots. So that's helped a ton. I think just in general, kind of knowing like what gear to use and what stuff to use in certain situations helps a lot. That's probably been the biggest thing. And then just kind of overall quality of videos. Yeah, so I think biggest thing though is just kind of knowing what I need to record and what kind of video I need to get. I've also realized it definitely helps having a second person with you there too, to get video of things and show you things or like set things up. Otherwise, you're like setting it up on a tripod, connecting your camera to your phone, running back to like get in the frame. Oh, I'm out of focus. Got to run back and set focus. Got to like run back and adjust the camera. Like all of that. I think just like even speed of videos too. Like that's been a big improvement. I don't know. It comes from a lot of different facets, and I like try to reevaluate after every video to see like what I can do better. So
yeah. No, I agree. I think it's good to self-reflect,
definitely,
and learn from that.
What about for you?
So for me, I definitely I'm realizing that I'm starting to become more comfortable with recording in public, and it's getting to the point where I'm blocking everything out except for the camera, which is good and bad because people like walk behind me and I have no idea they're even behind me.
Oh.
Okay. Because I'm so focused.
Yeah.
But I feel like my personality is starting to come out more. I'm not as nervous to talk in front of a camera anymore.
Definitely.
I am starting to focus more on B-roll, focusing more on getting shots, getting more comfortable with using my drone ever since the accident last year of crashing it into my car. Which, fun fact, driving the Taycan was the first time that I used the drone in a year and a half.
Oh my gosh. I got a drone story for you after you're done.
Oh, you do? Nice. But I think the biggest thing is practicing, because prior to going to record the Taycan, we spent all week, almost like 2 hours every night, going outside doing like B-rolls of both of our cars.
Oh, nice.
Like practicing with the gimbals with the dogs. I made sure my audio was perfect. I was buying new adapters, but it just comes with practice. I think for me, that's the thing that I'm improving with, is just making sure I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I think that goes underappreciated too. When people see like content production, they're like, oh, I could do that. It's like,
No.
Like it takes a lot of practice to like understand what to do when you're shooting a video. Like even something as small as like the shorts we've been doing, like those take a lot more effort than I think people realize.
Yeah.
Did you shoot it with your wireless mic?
I did.
Okay.
So fun fact, I have been using all of my microphones wrong for probably almost a year.
No way, really?
Yes, yep. So I guess when you buy a Rode microphone and you use your mobile phone, the adapter that they include, I can't remember like the technical term. I think it's like TSR or TRS. And this is so nerdy. There's two, if you look at the 3.5 millimeter input, there's 2 black rings, which means that it's only for audio in.
Yeah.
So like if I plugged my phone in, so the entire time I've been using my iPhone microphone without knowing, thinking I'm using the other one.
No way.
So Rode doesn't tell you this, but they have an adapter that allows you to do audio in and out, but it's only for mobile devices.
Okay.
So I had to overnight ship that in for the Taycan video.
I was going to show you. I've got this is the adapter I use.
Yep.
It's probably something similar to that.
Yep, that's exactly it. I actually don't have it near me, but that is what Rode provides to you.
Okay.
So that works with like DSLR cameras, but like if you're using, I don't know if I can. It's not focusing. You're doing like a makeup tutorial thing.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, just like that with the 3 rings.
Yep.
Yeah. So the entire time I'm like, why is my audio so bad? I've never been using a single one of my microphones the right way.
Oh, man.
Practice. It takes practice.
Definitely.
And research. Yeah,
that's good to know. I actually, when I have like a wired lav mic, this is like, again, getting nerdy, but but yeah, same thing. It came with just the, just like the 2-prong or the 3-prong design. And then to work on my camera, I need a 2-prong, to get onto, like to use it on my actual DSLR to plug in there. And I didn't realize, because I thought, oh, this microphone just doesn't work on this camera. Like that was the conclusion I came to, but didn't realize there were like an adapter for that thing.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I kept thinking, why does it sound like I'm so far away when I have my, lavalier mic like right by my mouth?
Yeah.
I was using my iPhone microphone without knowing. But I will say the Rode wireless, I think it's like the Wireless Go kit. Like the wireless one, it's awesome.
I need to get one of those, really well. Especially when you're like your Taycan video. Like I could tell the audio was like, even when you like turned away, like it sounded really good because it's like just it's right next to your mouth, so it can pick everything up really well.
Yeah, I highly recommend them, especially if they go on sale. I would definitely pick them up if you can.
Audio goes so overlooked in video production too. It's such an easy thing to be like, oh, like we've got a really good camera, like we'll be fine. And audio is like a bigger, I feel like it's a bigger part because you could have like a really crappy video, but if your audio is good, that can really bump up the quality really quickly. So
yeah, absolutely.
I've even noticed I shoot with the Rode, this big like shotgun mic, basically. You've probably seen it, that I like attached to the top of my camera.
It looks like a cattail.
Yeah, it's got the cattail on it for out in the wind. But I've noticed if I'm shooting a video in my room, I have to put pillows up behind the mic so it absorbs sound. Yeah. So if you watch like some of my videos in my new office space, the audio is like super echoey the first couple times I shot. And then the only difference between that and like my newer videos is I put pillows up now when I record, and it's like buttery smooth now. So just hilarious.
I have yet to see if my microphone picks up echoes because I haven't used it correctly. I'll find out this weekend.
There you go.
I will find out this weekend. On the topic of content production, what is one quirky thing that you've had to do to ensure that the video take goes correctly?
A quirky thing?
Yeah, like something.
Do you have an answer to this? Do you have something in mind, or?
I'm trying to think of one too. I don't know.
I guess
you were talking about your pillows.
Yeah, like that's probably a quirky thing. I don't know. It's a lot of like gear stuff. Like I think I seriously, like especially shooting a car video, like when you've got to do a lot of different shots and you got to have your camera mounted in different places. Like car videos are so hard to shoot. That's why I shoot so much of my like videos just in my room here, because I have a controlled space and audio and camera and everything like that.
I know.
I guess not a quirky thing, but I've noticed shooting in broad daylight is really tough with a DSLR, because I can drop the ISO all the way down, which ISO for the non-camera nerds is like basically the sensitivity of your camera to light. Like you can adjust that. So I dropped that all the way down to like 100, which is the lowest my camera goes. And even at 100, like everything behind the car is like super bright, and like you got these huge reflections off the car. And I got a polarizer for it, which basically like cuts out any light that isn't like coming directly into the camera. It's like polarized sunglasses, honestly. It like reduces a ton of glare, and you can adjust it to like kind of move it into the right spot. And that like darkens the camera a lot too, and makes a lot of the shots look a lot better. So
nice. Yeah, I was looking into those lenses for my iPhone, but I think eventually I'm going to move up to a DSLR.
I think it's definitely the way to go. Like you can do a lot with an iPhone, but if you want like that manual control, I really like having a DSLR. Even like we're shooting right now, I showed Brandon how I'm using it as a webcam, like for a Zoom call right now, and it looks really clear. Good. So
yeah, super clear. Well, I will say the one quirky thing that I've had to do with video take was when I first started recording videos, like with my first YouTube video or channel. I had to prop up my laptop because I was using my webcam on a old Microsoft laptop. And I had to prop it up on, I think it was like 4 Harry Potter books. And literally, it just looked like a pure webcam video. It was.
Yeah.
But I had to get that angle, you know? And I had like all the lights on. I think I brought in like 5 different lamps to get really bad lighting.
That's what you got to do. So drone story.
Yes.
Shooting the Mach-E video. Voss has a drone. He's got the Mavic Air 2, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice one.
It's like $1,000 drone. And we were getting some cool like rolling shots. I was driving the car. He was in the passenger seat controlling the drone of me like driving around. And we're in the parking lot at this point, and there's trees on either side of the parking lot. And he's got the drone up like super high. And I was just like going in reverse to kind of like get in position to do the next drone shot. And he's moving the drone around, and all of a sudden just smokes this tree. The drone's like, I'm sure yours is similar, but you only have like your tiny iPhone screen to see it. It's not very like wide angle. You can't see behind you or next to you or anywhere. It's only where the camera's pointed.
Yep. So
he lands it in this tree, and it's stuck. We park the car. We try to like see if we get it down, but it's like it's next to like a 3-story building. It's above the roof line on this building. Like it's way up there. We're not going to be able to get it down. So we go into the business that's there. It's some kind of like manufacturing facility, like warehouse type deal. And so one of the employees just lets us in this building. So we get in, we go talk to like some manager person. We're like, hi, we accidentally got our drone stuck in one of the trees out here. Is there any way to like get up on the roof to see if we can grab it? And they're like, no, we don't have roof access in this building. Like if they do any roof access, somebody has to get a ladder out and like go up there to fix things or do maintenance or whatever.
Yeah.
So we kind of nix that plan. Can't really do anything. We end up just leaving it up there because it's pretty stuck. Like it's not even gonna like fall down. The way it was sitting on one of the branches, he can't even like rev the motors to get it to like flip out of there or do anything. So he leaves it. We kind of wrap up shooting. No more drone shots, obviously. and I ended up leaving. I was over in Dayton, so like I had to get home. So I ended up leaving. On my drive home, he texts me and he says, I got the drone down. I'm like, how? So apparently he hired a tree climber to go get it. So this guy like climbs trees for like tree trimming and stuff. If you can't get like a truck to wherever you need to trim the tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he climbed all the way up in this tree, got the drone down, didn't have like a scratch on it. Like it landed so softly in the branches. So Drone's completely fine. Got all the footage, and you'll see it in my video.
So, I was curious, like, how do you hire a tree climber?
He said he found him on Facebook too.
Oh,
like Facebook Marketplace or something like that. This dude was just advertising his tree climbing abilities.
That's good.
Yeah,
everything worked out.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember crashing my drone into a tree. It was the first time I flew my drone, and it went right into a tree.
Yeah,
but it fell out.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's like my biggest scare getting a drone is like I feel like I'm just gonna crash it like immediately. Like I'm gonna try to do something dumb.
It's tough because like the ones that have like the crash avoidance like sensors and like object avoidance sensors are like $1,500 or more. Yeah, but I think it's worth it. I mean, the one we have crashes into anything, and I'm like, okay, let's just go. It's like,
do you have a DJI?
Yeah, it's the Mavic Mini.
Mavic Mini, okay.
Yeah, I have. It's called the Fly More kit, so like you get like extra batteries and things like that. I like it. I think it does a decent job for the price point.
Yeah.
But it has no avoidance sensors. You can literally crash it into anything.
Yeah.
Which I did.
Also, would they technically be electric vehicles if they're not carrying anything?
What was that?
Are drones technically electric vehicles?
Yeah, they might be. Yeah. I mean, they're battery powered.
They're battery powered. So
I have my charging station right next to me. Well, I'm excited to see your Mach-E video.
Yeah, like I said, I still kind of got to get my thoughts together. They weren't too concise on this episode, but it'll hopefully be coming out Sunday. I've been posting Sunday consistently this whole year so far, so trying to keep that up.
Keep that goal going.
That's right.
Yep. I broke that. I have not done that.
It's hard to keep up with.
It is.
Even you guys probably noticed if you're listening to this, I think we took 3 weeks off instead of 2, or 2 weeks off instead of 1, I guess. In between episodes, we've just been like super busy with stuff. I know Brandon's pretty slammed at work. I've been busy too. A lot going on. It's hard with a full-time job trying to run a YouTube channel and a podcast at the same time.
Yep.
So,
but we'll do it, right?
That's right. We're doing our best.
It's what we enjoy. So I know that we were talking about content production. So I just want to say I want to set the record straight.
About what?
That's the joke. We're recording the record. Actually, I have a dad joke for you.
Okay.
You want to hear this?
Yeah.
Have you heard the rumor about butter?
No, what is it?
That's okay. I don't want to spread it.
That's so bad.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
And we're going to end the episode there.
All righty. That's all for this one. Appreciate you bearing with us during all our content production woes. As always, if you got any questions about electric vehicles or topics you want to hear us discuss on the podcast, feel free to reach out to us on social media. We're at Living Electric Podcast, I think everywhere. What are we on Twitter? That's probably
Living Electric _
Living Electric _ on Instagram. We're Living Electric Podcast, and then on YouTube we're Living Electric Podcast. So thank you all for listening, and we will see you in the next one.